Hey, this is MJ, call sign KW3KW, and welcome to another episode of Ham Radio Made Simple. Today I'm going to be doing a video on a companion tool to JS8, and it's called JS8Spotter. I'm going to be just doing an introduction to it, since there are many great videos on the website itself. So if you're looking for an MCOM tool, you have to watch this video. And if you're looking to make JS8 more fun and you feel like, okay, I've kind of reached its limits, then you really have got to use this tool. So this is episode 39. And again, I appreciate all of you who've been hitting the like and the subscribe button, as well as posting encouraging comments. Just a quick health update. I have a slow neuro decline that started about a year ago, and it's resulting in speech issues. So those of you who complained I talk too fast, well, you got your answer. I talk much slower, but I still want to try to do these videos. I deal with memory loss and concentration issues, but I can do a lot of heavy editing when doing these videos to make it sound a little bit more presentable. And it's also leading to neuromuscular weakness, but it's slow, so hopefully I can get a few more videos in. And again, I want to thank you for your patience and your prayers and your support. So what's today's agenda? What is JS8Spotter? Why use it? I have a free setup guide. I'll show you at the end how to get it. And I do a quick summary. When you look at JS8Call, there's a ton of activity that just keeps populating. And really, you're not seeing anything but just a short snapshot of some information that's coming across here. And unless you click it on and get onto their offset, you're not going to be able to see what all of the messages and information flowing across. And so how do you stay on top of all of the data if you really want to look and see what other people are talking about that may be of interest to you? So what you really need to do is use the companion tool, JS8Spotter. Here you can add, for example, call sign. Here is a word. I'm looking for the word net and or groups that are out there, and specifically see what type of activity that goes on with them. So it's going to fill in three major gaps within JS8. It can track and sort specific activity such as call signs, words, and groups. It also does forms similar to FL message, but not the same. It sends formatted information, and I think in a much faster and cleaner way. And included in some of the reports, for example, is like a net check-in report, a field situation report. And for example, here is one I created for myself, our own field situation report. So you can create your own. For me, I modified existing ones, because I'm not a Python person, and it wasn't too hard. Took me maybe about 10 minutes to figure it out. But then I was able to create my own forms by modifying existing ones, which you can too. Then the unique thing about this too is, and it makes it really different, is I can not only send out forms, I can pull forms. So if Gunny didn't get my solar report that I sent out in the morning, he comes on 15 minutes later, he missed it. Well, he knows how to pull a report from me. And again, I'll show you that in the next slide. So this isn't just about pushing information. I think the real value of this is being able, when any system is on, you can pull information down that they want you to be able to pull down for your consumption. And again, the third area is published messages, and that's this. So I want to be able to do data search. I want to be able to use forms, and I want to be able to publish messages that people can pull. For example, what is my weather today? Do I have traffic or, news, for example? No. What's the solar conditions for today? Unsettled. And so not only can I send this, again, Gunny comes on after he missed my push, and he can pull it down himself, so I don't have to keep sending that out all day long. And I can update this as needed. This is a game changer. So again, not only can you send it, you can pull information. And I think this is one of the greatest strengths within JS8Spotter, especially for an MCOM group. So Joe Lyman's website is listed in the link in the description below. And here's the latest version at the time of release is the 1.14. His website is outstanding. And that's why I'm not going to be doing a demo, because his videos explain everything. I think what's going to really help you after watching this video is I'm going to give you great context of what this site can do. So when you watch the intro, you're going to say, oh, now I know how he does that. When you watch how to do an activity search, okay, I understand exactly what MJ was saying. And this area, the expect subsystem, spend a lot of time on. This is the heart of it. Right in here is the subsystem, and this is where the forms are used. But here, you may want to watch this twice. So when we look at the main screen, I can add the terms that I want. I can remove them. I can export all of mine and send them to others so that they don't have to recreate the wheel on what we're looking for, especially in MCOM groups. It's really great. So I can create a profile for my group, and we're all looking for the same things. I can create a profile, for example, just to look at contacts. I just want all the search terms are only going to be call signs that are in here. There are many different ways you can set this up. And I click on background search. So no matter what profile is up, it's doing a background scan for all the profiles that go on there for your search terms and posting the activity. But when I go to a different profile, it's only going to show matched activity associated to the search terms within that profile. Hopefully that makes sense. And then he has sort functions and filter functions that make it really easy to look, even though this is now you're going to collect maybe a lot of data. I can pull out, and again, I'll show you in a few slides how to use the filter. Hopefully this is starting to make sense. So if we look at all the data from JS8Call, and I want to take Gunny, for example, K04BNA, and I want to search for him. Okay, JS8Spotter grabbed it, and it now has specific activity that I can now open up within here. I would just double click on this, and it would pull up all the specific information. Again, in a few more slides, I'll show you what that looks like. So let's talk about how to use a filter and a sort function in here. So I'm going to use the word net, for example. And what it's going to allow me to do is type in the filter, the word net, and I want to sort it by the last 4 hours. And again, you'll notice all of the variable time elements you have to sort, and it's pretty robust. So that net is in my term base, which would had to be, because otherwise it wouldn't grab it. So there's the match activity, and it pulled up these three. And I want to look at particularly this one. And what it's going to do is if I click that on, it's going to show me the details. So this is the activity, and this is the activity detail that's sitting behind each one of these lines. So again, this is how you sort, this is how you filter from your search terms over here, and you can get detailed information. So who should use it? Well, don't think of it, it's only for MCOM groups. If you want to monitor specific call signs, let's say you're monitoring mine, and you want to see what I'm sending and the type of traffic that I'm pushing across on JS8. Again, you have to be on the same frequency that I'm on. I'm not always on the main calling channel, but I am quite a bit of the day. So you just basically set it, forget it, and you can come back and say, okay, I want to find out if anyone was talking about martial law. For example, that was one of my searched criteria, or anything happening on Aries group, anything that I can look at. So again, set, forget, walk away. And let's say I did a search for the word antenna, which is in my search term list in here. Here is an example of the detailed information. You can see the complete message. And so here he's talking about his end-fed half-wave is a great starter antenna. Well, gosh, you know what? I may go back to look for K4 GMX next time he's on and say, hey, I have an end-fed half-wave. I love mine. How are you using yours? How is your setup? So again, it's a way to look for interest and then maybe reach out to that particular person next time. You may add them to your call sign list over here. And when you see them and activity pops up, reach out to them because now you know you have something in common. This allows you to be persistent. You're not tethered to the PC and the rig itself. You can look back and review complete messages, and you can filter tons of data into into concise short list of interest. So who else should use it? Well, obviously MCOM groups in there, because you want to not only send your forms, but be able to pull your traffic, your check-in, your situation report, for example. The messages part I think is great. Again, not only can you send it, but in an MCOM group, I can pull anybody in the group. If they're on, I can pull any of their messages and situation reports, their forms, whatever. So I don't need to be at a computer at a specific time. I can be doing background scans and grabbing this information. So the nice thing and the beautiful thing about this, you can pass a lot of information simply and quickly without having to fill in all of the text. And I'll get into that in a couple slides. So again, the sort and filter messages on JS8, the group could be looking for keywords of interest, and you can be then refining it by applying the filters. And so here's an example, of, again, another time I pulled it up and I'm looking for, by the way, the highlights that you see here, there is a highlight range that you can set by time, 15 minutes, 30, an hour or longer. And I just want to say, okay, for the last, 30 minutes, highlight who is showing up in JS8 currently. And so again, another tool to point out in my search list of recent activity based on the highlights showing by the time criteria that I have preset within the JS8Spotter app itself. And again, we see it over and over again, persistent, persistent, persistent. The more you're on, the more data you grab. And again, it allows other members to pull your information from you too. So when we look at sending forms, how does it actually work? So you're only sending the alphanumeric portion and not all of the text response is included. Again, both parties must have the same forms in the form file. So with the standard forms, that's not an issue. But if you create a custom form, you better make sure they have that form and also to test it to make sure it works. So here is a 301 situation report. I'm just filling all ones. But if I put a 4 here, this would show up as a 4 in the responses that would go on here. So what does this look like when it's being sent? It's only sending the answer. So I want it to go to my group. And again, remember I had that included in when I created all of the stuff that the star, comma, at group 1. Send as a message, so they'll get flagged in JS8 to let them know there's a message. And here's the response. So group 1 goes here, message goes in here. This is the form number. And what you see here is all the responses. Now, if this was a 4, this last number would be a 4. Here is a date sequence that you can do your own, how you want to do your date sequence, and simply just hit send. And again, all these answers are from the drop-down questions. So this is less power to send because it's just sending this as opposed to, unavailable. And then let's say you did that for 10 questions. That's a lot of different responses. So much faster, cleaner to be able to send in a short format. It's private unless someone knows that, oh, I know the Joe's form right here, the 301. They're all ones. To me, that's a no-brainer. That means everything's normal. But if I saw a 3 or 4 there, I can go open up the question and look at the placement and do it. It's not, you can't do encrypted stuff on ham radio, but it's for the most people, they don't know about JS8Spotter. And and again, they have to be on the same frequency too at the same time. But it is a fast, clean way of doing it. And it's somewhat private, especially when you get into more of your custom forms that are in there. And so this is what it looks like. Autofills into JS8, and you don't have to do, once you hit the send, this is what happens in JS8, and off it goes. Now, FCC states that forms must be published on a public website. All of the standard forms in JS8Spotter is published on Joe's website. If you create your own, most people will go to like a tiny URL and create a website and post the the form so that people can actually look at it to be legal. So how do you get this set up in JS8? Go to the Settings tab under Reporting. All you simply do is click here and hit the 4 boxes here. You're going to take the number. This is under Edit Settings, and this is all in the handout. But if you're watching this, you don't even have to open up the screen. It's 2442. You have to put in here because I think it's the same as this number, 2242. So now it needs to be 2442. For my brain to say all of that, that's difficult. So 3 areas to focus on and expect. This is something I wish someone would have told me right up off the bat. There are so many things when you hit, when you open up an app and it has, view, file, tools. Here's what I'm telling you. 3 areas. Expect system, make sure that you go under tools, hit expect system, and this is what it pulls up. This is the expect auto reply system. This is where I created my messages that went up here, for example, my traffic message, alert. I hit alert and I typed in, this is all me, this is what I did. I typed in alert and I put alert level 1 with the date. And I put in here the star or asterisk, I think it's a star, and the comma, at group, and 99 replies means it's infinite. I can do this and say only the first 10 people can look at it. After that, no one can. And then I can hit the save and send it now. And this is where your forms, when you post it, your forms are going to be posted here. You can send, and this is where people are going to pull from, your auto expect subsystem. The second one is where you create your forms. And so again, tools, MC forms, and this is where the 301, for example, I pulled the 301 field situation report. And this is where I fill in the answers, and it goes back to the expect subsystem is where it's posted to send and to be pulled. So you can see it's not too complicated. Next is the MC form responses. So if I want to look at, for example, Gunny sent me his 301 field situation report. I have to go under Tools, MC form responses. And before I go on, so expect system is 1, create the forms is 2, to review your forms is 3. Hopefully you get that. And this is to view the forms responses. And I'll show you here as I click these on what I can look at. It'll fill in all of the responses back into the forms. And there's multiple views. So again, expect system, create the forms in MC forms, and look at the detailed responses under MC form responses. So let's look at the 2 possible views. So I'm in MC form responses that you can see right here. And I click on this particular one from Gunny. So if I double click this line, I get this view. And this is going to show me like cell phone functional, no. Local AM, FM, TV station broadcasting, partially functional, is in that internet functional, no. So this is, again, the questions and the responses that go associated with it. So that's one. The other one is I right mouse click. I like this one better. So I right mouse click that same line, and it actually shows me the form itself. So operator reporting from reported conditions and self QTH. So this is actually pre-populates all of this. So, and you can actually forward these too. So that's a nice feature in it. So if someone else can't get it, you can forward it to them. Now, I'm going to tell you right now what I found when you do a name search. For example, in here, I did, war. War was my activity search. Well, WAR is in part of Warner. And so it's going to call it name rounding. If it's part of the word is in something else, it's going to pull it also. So I was looking for war, and I was able to pull up Warner. So just FYI, not a big deal, but don't be shocked by it. So also showed up warm, WARM. Now, ComStat has 2 forms included. It includes their net check-in and their status report. Now, I tried to load ComStat, and I had difficulty set up. I think I was on Windows 11, and it didn't do it well. And so I know Joe worked with Steve, KEOVCD, and was able to get this built in to it. And so now we have CompStat forms that are in here. So here's a CompStat that check-in. You put, your group, comments, I'm remote, the state I'm in, and the grid, and I can hit send. So it's automatically built in. You don't have to add CompStat now as another app. And here is their status form. And again, it fills it all out, as you can see. So again, you can send or receive. This is great. All in one location, filters to sort reports. You can do filters on this too. So if you got a lot of comp stats, an example would be, I'm on AMRON frequency 7.110. And if they're sending CompStat reports, I can filter those out and look at those. So, and again, it's going to show up in the report queue, CompStat status reports received. And here is one that came across from an AMRON person. Additional features, APRS. I wouldn't spend much time on this one because it can do SMS texting, but it's not going to validate that the message was ever received. You can do email too on that, just like this. You can see you're doing it. And the problem is it's one way. It doesn't go both ways, but something's better than nothing. And if you're in a pinch and you want to send a flare up through an email or SMS text, you can do that on JS8Spotter. Again, sends only, does not receive, and phone number will be visible. The best way if you're interested in doing that is WinLink. And if you notice down in here, you can hit the pause on this. But this is how you would do for AT&T, T-Mobile, and Sprint. You would put it in here. Now, you can reply to this. I've done this with my daughter for emergency purposes. She's not a ham radio operator, but let's say my cell goes down, but hers doesn't. She lives in another state. I can send to her phone and she can reply back to me, and it's going to come back to my rig. And again, that's providing that the gateways are working. But something, again, you can always try. This is better than nothing. Remember to post to Outbox. And these are the cell provider formats. Oh, what I do is since I use this, I make sure I find different gateways in different corridors of the U.S. that work, and I put them in my favorites. So if the Northeast is down, I'll go to the south or to the west of me and make sure that I have a gateway I can use. If everyone's down, you're toast. This doesn't work. So there is so much great detail info in the training videos that Joe provides that I strongly recommend that you would go to the website after watching this and look at these videos. So if you want my handout, make sure you ask for the JS8Spotter handout. And you can email me at kw3kw@mail.com. And what you'll get is, again, the download site, the version, how to do the JS8Call setting changes, and walk you through all of the settings and descriptions within JS8Spotter. The next video, again, Joe Lyman, KF7MIX, is doing an authentication tool. It's almost ready to be released. And it authenticates messages. It's a really cool, simple app. And it's not built into JS8. It's a separate tool. And you ask why? Well, it works with other digital apps outside of JS8. And it can even work with voice. You'll see it in his video on the demo of it on his website. And it's just released. So we're just trying to get down some of the little bugs out of it and ready to go prime time on this one. So in summary in here, you must have this as if you're using JS8Call. It's a great companion tool. It's a great search tool. It does call signs and groups, keyword searches for all of JS8 activity. It can pull it through. It's fast sending and receiving of built-in forms and messaging in there. And you can not only send, but you can actually pull the messages and the forms at the same time. So this is MJ, call sign KW3KW, thanking you for being patient with my disability here and watching and supporting this channel. Please hit the like and the subscribe button and post any comments that you have. And again, this is Ham Radio Made Simple, thanking you, and MJ is out.